Well, good day, everybody. It's June the 1st, I think, because it's actually April the 1st, and I'm very impressed with the quality of the April Fool's jokes on social media. But there's so many of them that it's all rubbish and you don't know what to believe. But anyway, best one that got me was, didn't get me, but I said, what's going on? Was the Vendée Globe. It's this course going on. What's going on? Took me about, I suppose, sort of 20 seconds to work out what was happening. But yeah, they're not changing the course for the Vendée Globe. And it's kind of interesting, but it looks like Jack got caught out big time because she did the SoundCloud call with Outlaw, and Outlaw apparently, I haven't heard it yet, but apparently said they met up with another boat in the middle of the ocean, another pirate boat or something, and sucked Jack in good and proper. And Helsinki in their tweet said that we've taken the finish line up to Helsinki in Finland, which is kind of cool. So Cows was just a quick stopover, quick beer and party and carry on from there. Anyway, and my day, I nearly missed this tracker update because I'm deeply entrenched in the final review of the notice of race for 2027. And I looked up and said, God, tip is on in 10 minutes, as well as daylight saving. That sort of mucked up a few things, but there you go. And I can give you a couple of tweaks that I've finally decided on because I tend to break news here for those that are following the actual tracker updates. We're actually having a Chichester class in the next OGR. And if any of you followed the Ocean Globe race, the Golden Globe race, you'll know that we have a Chichester class there because to complete the Golden Globe, it's a solo non-stop around the world voyage. And we sort of accept the fact that some people might have some stupid little thing happen and they've got to stop, and they've spent 4 years preparing their boat and doing the race, for the GGR. And so we let them go in as a Chichester class, which means they've stopped once. So that's in recognition of Sir Francis Chichester, who was the first person to do a one-stop solo circumnavigation in 1967, I think he finished. And that directly led to the Golden Globe race, which was the first ever solo non-stop round the world race, which directly led to the Whitbread race in 1973, which we're celebrating the 50th anniversary now. So the idea is that, you take the case of Godspeed, Explorer, Sterner, and Translated, where they've all had to make a stopover and get outside assistance, which knocks them out of the rankings for the entire round the world race. And I've been thinking about that. It's pretty unfortunate. I mean, you look at the case of Translated. I mean, that was a big one. But it was a huge campaign. It was a big stopover, and they were stuck for, I forget what it was now, 7, 8, 9 days or something, which would affect their overall performance. But effectively, if you then say, look at Sterner and even Explorer, Explorer had to go back and stopped for about, I think it was 48 hours or something, and Sterner was a little bit longer. But you have a situation where a boat, if they have a problem and they've got to stop for, say, 48 hours, they're out of the rankings for that leg. So their whole race is over. It's blown because they can't even think about taking a place of first in IRC, and they don't know where they are. So what we're going to do for 2027, if someone has a situation where they require outside assistance and they stop for a day or two somewhere and carry on, there will be the discretion of the organizer, which is us, to then consider all the facts and look at what happened and what the issues were. And if we want, we can apply an extra 48-hour time penalty because they would have stopped. Usually they've had to go back and alter course. They've been in port for a while. And then they can get sailing again, right, if they've had outside assistance. We give them an extra 48-hour penalty, and then we give them a classification of being in the new Chichester class, but they're still sailing in the rankings. So in other words, if you had a boat that was leading the race, say in leg 4, and they might have a 4-day lead in the race, and they might decide they need to stop somewhere to fix something, like pull into Recife or something, which is pretty closely on the track, and get knocked out, or they stop for 24 hours and fix up whatever they're fixing up and get back in the course again, we can put them in Chichester class. They're still in the rankings, okay, and we give them an extra 48-hour time penalty. So they're still racing, they're still actually there. And at the end of the day, when they finish their circumnavigation, then they're actually still in the race. So that's been suggested in in this pre-notice of race, and I like the idea of it, because if you have someone that's there, to get knocked out of the whole race because of one incident of requiring outside assistance for whatever reason, I think that's the fairest way. And then, having done that, if that happened in leg 2, if they're in a situation in leg 3 where they need outside assistance again, then that's it. It's all over. They're out of the rankings for leg 3. They're not in Chichester class anymore because they've made 2 stopovers. So they're basically out of the event, really, like Translated and Explorer and Sterner and so on. So that's one of them that's coming in there. The other one is a whole new opportunity for boats. Now, this will be a little bit controversial, I'm sure, because there will be some people with boats that will be miffed because they want to stay true to the cause. But flyer class, as you know, in this edition of the race, is all about previous Whitbread entrants that entered the first 3 editions of the Whitbread race. So we've already declared that for 2023, we are allowing any ex-Whitbread veterans, the boats, which entered any of the first 4 Whitbread races. So that could include boats like Lion New Zealand and a whole swag of others that were entered in the 84-85 Whitbread race, which is cool. That's the way it stands. But after extensive consideration, right, I've decided to follow the theme a little bit more than we had in 2023, because we also were prepared to allow any similar boats to Whitbread entrants that had some historical relevance or significance alongside the Whitbread race. So maybe a boat that was built for the Whitbread race that didn't actually get to sail in the Whitbread race or whatever. So following on from that theme, we've decided to allow in flyer class any yacht which is a Transocean ocean racing boat, so something not built for round the buoys racing, but something that's built for serious Transocean, across the Atlantic or wherever, across the Pacific, whatever. That was launched before 1988, so it's got to be of the era, and that's less than 20 meters. 20 meters, launched before 1988, and a Transocean racing boat, and something that we like, something that seems to fit the ilk of the other Whitbread races. And it's exclusively up to our discretion whether we accept that style of boat, whatever it is, or not. And if we don't accept it, we won't give a reason why we won't accept it. Because there are a few parameters there that we want to make sure they're in theme with all the other boats in the flyer class. So if we got something that was super extreme or crazy or whatever it is, then we say, sorry, you don't rate. So we're never going to give an answer as to why we wouldn't accept that boat. And because we're declaring it now for the first time, no one will be disappointed. Someone might have a boat that they think they could enter in the flyer class of the Ocean Globe race. We have a look at it, get the team discussing it. They've got to give us a full proposal on why they think they should be able to qualify in the Whitbread flyer in the Ocean Globe race flyer class, and we'll seriously consider that. And we think it's right, we may accept it. If we don't accept it, we'll say sorry, no, and we won't say anything else. We won't say we don't like the color, we don't like the rig, we don't like the crew, we don't like whatever. We're just going to be a simple yes, you're in, or no, you're out. And that will allow an opportunity for a larger number of boats that could come into the OGR. Will still be restricted as to the total number in the first instance. Up until, it'll only be a year. In the first year, we'll have number restrictions on the total number of boats that we allow into each class. So it'll be split 3 ways down the middle with a total of 26 boats. There are 26 entries and 4 special invitations. So what's 26 divided by 3? Oh, it doesn't work. 21, 24. So anyway, we'll work that out. So yeah, we'll have a maximum number for each class, and that will hold through until 2 years before the start. and then we open up the classes across the board. So we just go for maximum numbers of boats. So if you're thinking about getting an adventure class, for instance, I would say don't wait, because I know there's quite a few boats looking at adventure class and also Sayula class. So because it's only like about 8.5 boats for each class, but we'll probably do 9 boats for each. 9 boats for adventure and Sayula, and then we'll decide how many we allow in fly class. So start thinking about it if that's your plan. Anyway, let's get on to, and there's lots of other interesting things too. So when we do finally release this thing, I'm sure a lot of people will be interested to have a read and see what's going on. Okay, so across to the tracker, I've got Windy on standby for this one as well, because we're going into that little high above Penduic, and she has slowed down. So I want to explain that, and let's see what we've got right now when we get onto the tracker. So there's the tracker. What's Penduic doing? 3.2. Getting a little bit on the move. Or what's Explorer doing? Explorer is doing flying. Cool. She's only been doing half a knot at one stage, 0.7 of a knot for 4 hours, and then 1.8 of a knot for the others. But we're slowly getting there. Okay, I'll pull that up there and get this back so I can see it better. And we'll, so overall you can see what's happening. There's this big hole here. And as I was predicting previously, Translated has every opportunity to come up and go straight around Penduic or catch up for sure in the next 24 hours, maybe even up to 36 hours. So, or pull alongside, we could say. We'll have to enjoy looking at that in a minute. The fleet, everything else is still happening as expected. So I'm going to start at the back end with Explorer. I know everyone's really excited about that, but she parked as I thought she would. There's still very variable situations down here. This graphic is not really a true reflection of what's happening, but it's now looking a little bit okay, because Explorer is doing 4.8 knots, which is great, and she's managed a total of 64 miles in the last 24 hours. So nothing too spectacular, but still okay. And Sterner is doing 3.1. What's going on there? Jeepers. I thought she was well and truly in it. Just goes to show the trades are weakening off and getting a bit patchy unless something's happening on board that I don't know about. Anyway, they've managed 112 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. We'll have a look at their position on Windy in a minute as well, and just see what might be causing that. So White Shadow, 6.2 knots, 133 mile day. So that's not fast either. So yeah, definitely weak trades. Triana showing plenty of power, 7.6 knots and 167 mile day. It's not too bad, but it's getting a bit hard for you to see this. You can see here, even there's these sort of areas where it's not consistent solid greens. And there's even one here that I'm seeing. There's another one going across this way. So it is very patchy. So Evrika, 7.3 knots, 159 mile day. Not super fast. Galliana with Secure, 7.4 knots and 150 mile day. So they're all doing similar. So certainly not flying. It must be quite pleasant in some ways. 7.5 knots for Outlaw. That's pretty good. 171 mile day. So certainly taking it out of Penduic. And Maiden is doing 5.4 knots, 154 mile day. So it's all a bit soft. There you go. Neptune proved me wrong. 8.4 knots, but still only 157 mile day. So that's sort of vector made good, I suppose, along the run line here, but they're sailing pretty much parallel to it. And this is where it's getting really fluky a bit. But Translated have still managed to keep moving well, doing 6.9, not so fast, but 183 mile day. It's one of the biggest days that we've seen just there. 128 miles for L'Esprit de Keep. So you can see they've fallen into a couple of holes, and now they're only doing 3.6. So it's pretty much playing out as we discussed yesterday. Spirit of Helsinki, 5.6 knots and 146 mile day. And Penduic, only a 90 mile day and 3.2 knots. So there's a bit of compression going on here, and you can see Penduic is so close, if this graphic is correct, to just hooking up onto this southwesterly, that's going to, first one in here is just going to get a huge boost because there's going to be stuff happening behind here as well. So before we go into that, I might swap over to Windy. I'll just copy this down, 2402. I forgot to mention Explorer just got across the equator too, by the way. So 2402 and 3118 west. I'm just going to now transfer across, and so we'll look at what I'm going to show you on Windy is a bit better definition of what's going on here with this whole weather pattern and how it's going to pan out. It's really, there's a low pressure system here, but it's distorted and deformed, so it's not really a high. This is absolutely a high that's twisted out and now, molding in with Africa and Morocco and so on. So that is the partial high. And then there's something else happening over here. There's a high pressure system which is going to rip up over here and become potentially the next Azores high. They usually do head up in that direction, and all of this is dictating exactly the weather that the fleet is getting right now. And it's a crucial period because you can see, as I was saying yesterday, Translated is making miles on Penduic. They were holding first in IRC. I think they still are. Here we go. Yeah, first in IRC, first in flyer class. So this is all critical for the future. Down here, whilst the trades aren't, the middle fleet, whilst it's not really strong, they're still traveling better miles, except for Sterner, than the lead boats are up here. So there's a bit of compression. So if we now go over, if I come back here, hang on, and swap over to Windy. Here's Windy. Yep, you got it. And if I get on Windy, which is here, and then I'm going to position this where 2402, so she's not as high as I did an estimate there of where I thought she'd be. 2402 and 3118 is near enough. Okay, so this is Penduic. That's their weather that she's getting at the moment. I'm going to leave it at this scale. You can see there's this big extended center of the high. There's the isobars going around. It's reasonably high, 1018 hectopascals or millibars. It's not too bad. It's pretty powerful. But there's just no wind here. And anywhere we look, there's no wind. And down here, we'll come to the trade winds after and see how patchy that is. But this is much more accurate. It's the ECMWF model. This is real time now. And I'll just start pushing it through and you can see what's happening. So it was, if you just watch the numbers there, you've got 7 knots southwesterly for Penduic right now. And as it goes through every few hours, it's not really changing a lot, right? So this is now 2000. So there we go. That's 24 hours from now. So you basically still got that same wind 24 hours from now. And in 24 hours of doing 4 knots, it's going to be 20 miles ahead. So that's 25 knots. So it's still only going to be a little bit of a fraction. So that's about where she's going to be in about 12 hours. Okay, maybe not even that. What have we got? 12, that's 15 miles. 4, 16. Yeah, so the next 4. Maybe. She might just reach up into that. It's going to be a bit of a race on because if I still keep pushing this through, you can see the calm is growing around her, but then the breeze starts to fill in. So it looks as if within 24 hours, this is just coming up to 24 hours now. What do we got? 24 hours for 100 miles. It's still really light, but I think she's going to get into it. That's the first part. If we just go back now to real-time weather and look at where Translated is, Translated's over here. Hang on, I'm just going to go back and have a quick check here. Translated is on 22, 30, 23, 22, 23, and 35. 22, 33, and 25. 22, 23, and 35. 22, 23. Oh, here we go. I'm fluffing around here a bit. Okay, Translated is here. Similar sort of scenario, not much breeze. But what's going to happen here as it comes across? Okay, Translator's in the same situation, even worse, because it's moving up. So I think having looked at this, I don't think Translator's got a chance of going around the side. I hope that makes sense. So you can see there was a distortion there. And let's just follow this through. Let's say Translated gets up here into this one. What's going to happen over the next couple of days? This is a much easier way of showing you how this is all going to mold together. And this for sure, you can see that 2021, this will become the next Azores high coming up here. And you can see what pattern it's going to take. So you can see it's not moving, it's just holding down. So this area here is going to be the next challenge for them to get across. So there's still going to be a day or two. This is a day and a half. This is coming up onto the third now. And they've still got this big blocking band to get through. The whole fleet's got this. So I think generally what we're going to see, if we say the first and we'll come through to midday, nothing's changing. So there's 2 days from now. So there's Tuesday, Wednesday, and there's no way anyone's going to get through this lot here. I don't think anyway. I may be wrong. I don't think. So I think we're going to lose another couple of days with some serious challenges. And then after that, it's pretty much all over. You can see whoever got through that, slow sailing, they're going to hook up into this lot here. And it's a big run all the way up through into England. This is a couple of days, so that forecast will be right. The high is not moving. The Azores high is just molding into a big hole here, which is going to challenge the middle fleet because they'll be coming up into this about then. So they'll have the same challenges. Meanwhile, those that can get through to this area here flying. So Penduic's off and running. Translated will probably grab it just at the last minute, but the others have got to get through this lot here. So if we keep pushing that through, we're on to Thursday, on to the 4th. And if we look there, there's plenty of breeze pushing them up on the 6th. This is going through the 7th. You just look at this area here through the Azores. There's the Azores just there. And these areas here, 20 knots, that's huge for the tail enders now. You know, the ones that were slow, maybe even affecting Triana, maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, yeah, I certainly Sterner and maybe Triana and White Shadow, they may be challenged with this, while Penduic and the others are roaring up towards England. And then, yeah, plenty of breeze to follow them through. This is the 10th. So this is about when they're likely to get up there. By the 10th, they'll be around here somewhere, still sailing fast and heading through. So I hope that makes sense. But the guys at the back, they're going to have plenty of challenges. So back to now, go back to the tracker. Yep, there we go. Okay, so we're back on the tracker, and we'll see how that pans out doing our 2 weather thing here. I think I can go one bigger. Maybe we'll just watch. I'll have to do this in 2 parts. I didn't show you the trade winds, but not very strong. So we'll just work this through the same way. Sorry if this is boring you, but anyway, you can see here now, there's that hole. So I really think that Penduic and see that was showing for just a short second there. We're into 24 hours out. Some breeze for Translator to get up there into it. Not sure about Neptune because it might come in this lot. So it's still a bit iffy there, but that's a day and a bit across there. And now we're going into the 3rd, and that's showing. We've passed the day. That's showing 2 days from now. So this is 2 days from now. And there's a bit of a join there. This one's showing a join to get into it, and they're gone. So if Penduic and Translator can get across there in 2 days, and Spirit of Helsinki and Maiden and all the rest of it, they'll be home free for like the next week. But then the others coming up, and that'll include Evrika and Triana and so on, they'll have a similar repeat with this blocking area of no wind, very light. So, okay, I think that's enough of that. I think it's fair to say that these trades are there, but it's not strong, so their speeds are a little bit slow. Okay, let's have a look at the tracker line on us. Penduic, L'Esprit de Keep, and Spirit of Helsinki. I think it's pretty easy to see. They're all pretty close in one sort of way. Distance to the finish for Pendu, 2,182. For L'Esprit de Keep, only about 120 miles behind them. So 120 miles away from Pendu, not bad. 2,300 miles for Spirit of Helsinki, 2,367 for Translated 9. This is all putting in, by the way, I did another update for our team here this morning, and I'm thinking that they're probably the earliest we're likely to see them in cows is the 12th, and I think it'll probably run out to the 13th, but let's wait and see. Not far to go, but the next couple of days are still slow, a couple of thousand miles. If you're doing 200 miles a day, it's only 10 days, but I think they're going to go slow for another day and a bit. So first boats, 12th, probably 13th. So then it goes down to Maiden, 2,400 miles to go. Neptune, 2,500 miles to go. Outlaw, 2,600 miles to go. So only 100 miles in it for each one. It's staggered quite well. And for IRC, oops, daisy, here we go. So IRC, Translated 9 on 48 days and 11 hours. L'Esprit de Keep, 49 and 9 hours. So that's a full day and a bit. So Translated really shot out there now. Penduic is on 50 days. That's still all good. Neptune, 50 days, 19. Spirit of Helsinki. Maiden's back there a bit now, not doing so well. And Triana down at 53 days. I think they're too far behind for this leg, but there should be more than enough to hold their own against Maiden there, because here Triana's on 53 days. Maiden is on 51 days, and only still 2 days behind, so it's going to go close. All right, I'll do the IRC overall for all legs tomorrow. I think that's it. We'll come back now to see what people are up to. There's Pat. G'day, Pat. Go back to the beginning. Rob, evening there. Auspicious day. Yeah, watch out. It's past morning here now, so we can't get sucked in for any more jokes. G'day, Kathleen, Carl, Christine, Kaylee, Singer, Andrea. Morning, everyone. Yeah, we're having a good Easter. We sort of went a bit slow yesterday, but still did some work. Chichester class sounds good as long as stopping can't be used for strategic reasons, which you appear to have a way to stop that. Yeah, there's no advantage to stopping, believe me, because they will have had to have sailed back to their position to stop, then make the stop, and then when they come out, they get another 48 hours whacked on top, but at least they're still actually racing and in the rankings. We could change that concept between now and the time we issue the notice of race, which will be 12 months later, near enough. We may issue the full notice of race in September this year. I think that's more relevant, which will be 4, 5, 6, 7, 3 years before the start. So yeah, the official notice of race will come out in September this year, but there could be some radical changes between now and then. We can freely change the pre-notice of race with anything we want. And there may be some relevance here. I won't go into it, but another thing that might be happening is we might come under the auspices of Category O for world sailing, and we mention that in the notice of race, and we make a declaration that if that's the case, there will be some exemptions for Category O under world sailing, but we'll decide that no later than January of 2025, because it then covers all sorts of stuff like staunch and heights and blah, 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 so it goes. But anyway, there's some things happening in the background there that could be good for the future of OGR, so we're alerting everyone to that fact as well. Okay, g'day peeps and everyone. Afternoon. Unusual weather here in Ireland for the time of the year. It's unusual everywhere, Pat. It's crazy, eh? Anyway, Paul KR prediction was the 12th for the first boat. Yeah, well, I tend to agree. That's why I was saying that. And in fact, I had a look at Paul's routing program. I nearly shared it onto OGR the other day, yesterday when I mentioned it. I said, or was the day before. It'd be interesting to see what the routing program is suggesting for the best course. And you've got to remember the routing program only works for predictions if the boat itself has a similar routing program on board and the weather information, so it knows which one best to take. But generally speaking, I come up with the same idea, just doing the hands-on look at the weather and a gut feeling for how many miles a day they're going to make. On average, there's going to be some big daily runs, 240-mile days, 260-mile days, things like that, but also some slow stuff happening now. So I told the team this morning that probably on the 13th, but they could get there on the 12th. So we confer, which is kind of cool because mine's a bit of, going like that. Oh, I didn't put me on. You can't see me. I just stuck my finger in my mouth. I'll put like that. Oh, boy. There we go. I forgot. Anyway, I think we're just about done with that lot. Nigel, Don made it. Yeah, I think okay, cool. If Megan gets across she might win IRC. Yeah, absolutely. Maiden is the two potential. There's 4 boats that have a chance at IRC overall, but as it's getting closer, the options are getting less. And the 2 most likely, without looking at it, we'll go through this tomorrow, is certainly Triana and Maiden. They're the 2 that are sitting there. So that's kind of interesting. There you go. Okay, I think we're done. Yep. So thanks for that. We'll see you all tomorrow. See you later. Oh, I'm going to press that one.